Hi, I'm Larry Trocha, and I'm here today to do a video on starting your horse on cattle. You know, a horse's introduction to cattle is the first step in making him a cutting horse. And every precaution needs to be made to do it correctly so the colt gets off to a good start. Today we're going to demonstrate some of the techniques I use to get a horse started on cattle in a way where it's fun for the colt, so he gets a good start on his way to being a cutting horse. I'd like to talk about what I consider the most important part of training a cutting horse, and that is teaching him to trap a cow in the center of the arena. The NCHA rulebook says points and credit will be given for holding the cow as close to the center of the arena as possible. Now, if that's where the points are given, that's what I want to concentrate on. That's the biggest thing. Everything else is secondary in my book. I want to teach my horse to hold that cow in the center of the arena. Everything that we do to train these horses is building up to that. And there's certain aspects of cow nature that allows you to hold them in the center, and I'd like to go through that. Let's pretend that I've cut a cow out of the herd and it's standing here in front of me. Now, the cow's going to want, once I separate it, the cow's going to want to get back to the herd. When it does, if my horse counteracts that cow's moves, but when he counteracts the moves, if he stays up into the cow, goes at the cow, that panics the cattle. That's what makes the cow want to run from fence to fence. The horse staying up into the cow all the time. If I want to get the cow to set up, what I want my horse to do, when the cow tries to get back to the herd, I want my horse to jump away from the cow a little bit and ahead of the cow. The fact, if my horse jumps away from the cow, that takes the pressure off the cow. It lets him think that there's no need to panic because I'm not after him. And if my horse jumps ahead of the cow, he thinks, oh, you know, that horse is ahead of me, and that's what stops the cow. Now, it makes the cow think that he can get behind my horse and re-enter the herd. When he does, when the horse actually, when the cow commits itself to that turn to go behind my horse to re-enter the herd, that's when my horse is going to make the big O sweep and jump away from the cow and ahead of the cow. And again, by jumping away from the cow, it takes the pressure off the cow, and by jumping ahead of the cow, that stops the cow. And again, he's going to think he can get behind the horse to re-enter the herd, and we just do that process over and over, and that's what draws the cow to you and keeps him set up in the middle. In my book, everything else is secondary to that. That's what the rule book plainly states where the points are. Everything I do to train my horse, from the first day I put a horse on cattle all the way through the finishing process, everything is geared toward building the horse up to be able to hold a cow and stop a cow and trap him in the center of the arena. Everything else is secondary. Let's talk about what our horse needs to know before we start him on cattle. Now, the horse I'm riding today is a 2-year-old, and he's been ridden for a couple months, and we've started him on cattle already. He's seen a cow maybe 10 times. But I want to show you, just kind of how I have him broke and how I like to have most of my horses broke before I start them on cattle. When a horse comes into training to be started, we'll saddle him up and hang a snaffle bit in his mouth, and when he's comfortable with that, we'll go ahead and ride him. And when I break these colts, I really don't do anything fancy. I basically want them to give their head to the side, and I want them to give it to the side both directions without a lot of fuss. Now this colt, he does it pretty good. And I'll just walk a circle here and just ask him to give his head. Oh. And I want them to be able to stop Oh. And it doesn't have to be a great stop, but just a stop. So he knows what the word whoa means, and when I take hold of him, he'll come to a stop. When I turn him, ideally you have him kind of turned on his hocks before you start him on cattle, but it's not absolutely necessary. This colt, he kind of turns on his hocks, but not great. He's not quite that far along. There he goes. Oh. I'll back him up a little bit. Now he doesn't back up that great, but he'll back up a little bit. And if they'll just do those basic things right there, you can start them on a cow. Now some people like to have their horses broke a little better than this. And some people, you know, they'll start them on cattle before they're even broke this far. There's been plenty of good horses that were started on cattle the second or third time they've ever been ridden. But I'm going to go ahead and work this horse on a cow. Now, from the earlier demonstration when we were looking at the finished horses, you know, we have the certain elements there that the horse has to do. And to get there, we want to do first things first. And to me, the most important thing that you want to teach the horse is to go with the cow. So the first thing I'll do is I'll take my horse to a cow, and I'll just teach him to go with the cow. And we're not going to do anything fancy. We're just going to step to the cow to make it move, and then when it goes, we're going to leave with it. So I've got a herd of gentle cattle here. We'll just separate one. And I want to keep the colt pretty quiet. Now this colt, he's fairly comfortable in a herd of cattle, but if he wasn't, I wouldn't have the herd in here. I would just have one cow in here at a time to give him confidence. A horse that's worrying too much about the herd, he's not concentrating on what you're teaching him. Okay, now we've got a volunteer, so I'm just going to point my horse at the cow. And I'm keep things as slow as possible at the start. Now I'm just going to walk to the cow, put a little pressure on it, and when it leaves, I'm going to leave with it. Now it's going to my left. I'm going to use some right leg and push my horse to the left. I'm going to slow him up here. He's wanting to jump on top of it. I'm going to back him up a little bit. Okay, step him to the cow. Cow's going. Use my right leg, go with the cow. Good. Let's step to the cow again, and we'll go with the cow. Now you notice I'm kind of behind the cow a little bit. I'm not head to head with the cow. The reason for that is we want this horse to hook up onto the cow. We want him to take interest in a cow, and it's a horse's natural instinct to want to chase cattle. It's fun for them to chase cattle, and because this is their introduction to cattle, I want them to have fun. The first few times they work a cow, I want them to have a good time. So I'll chase the cattle more than I'll get alongside of them and try to hold a position. So I'll step to the cow. We'll go with him. And that's okay if he enters the herd. We'll just come out with another cow. Hope. And here again, in the herd, I want my horse to be quiet. If it takes 10 minutes to get a cow separated, I'm going to take the 10 minutes because I want this to be controlled and quiet. I don't want the colt to get scared. Now I'm just going to let him follow this cow. Now see what he's doing with his nose? He's kind of reaching out there and showing a little bit of expression. I want this horse to recognize that we're doing something with the cow. I'll step to him. And we'll just kind of follow along. Now his ears are going back. He's kind of he's kind of wanting to dominate the cow a little bit. He's showing some expression, and that's what I want. I want him to think that it's fun chasing this cow around. Ooh. Now notice when we stopped here, see the horse's head is about at the cow's shoulder. Whenever the cow stops, I want to stop my colt a little short of the cow's head. And the reason for that is I want the colt to have a clear view of the cow. I want the colt to have that cow in front of him at all times, because when the cow turns back, the cow's going to pass in front of him, and that's going to draw him with that cow. It's going to make him want to go with the cow, and that's what I want. I want to teach this horse to get hooked up to the cow and go with him. Here we go. Now help him through the turn and a little right leg. And we're just gonna trot along with him here. Cow broke off away from me, so I went ahead and stopped my horse. Now, right here, this colt's kind of wanting to put his head down a little bit. I'm gonna let him. Let him sit here and think about it. Now when I step to the cow and the cow leaves, I'll help him with my hands. I'll give him direction with my hands, but I'm actually motivating him with my legs. If, let's say the cow's right in front of me and the cow goes to my left, I want to take his nose to the left, let him know that's the direction we're going to go, but then I'm going to immediately follow up with my right leg. Now, and I'm not gonna kick him, I'm not gonna jab him with the spur. I'm basically gonna turn my toe out and I'm gonna press him with that spur. And again, it's just turn the toe out and press him with that spur. And the reason I do that is that's what tells him I want him to go with that cow. If you train him with just your hands, he won't start showing the intensity, and he won't have the motivation necessary for him to really start hooking up to that cow. So I'll give him direction with my hands. I'll let him know where to go with the cow, and I'll motivate him to go with the cow by pressing him with my spur. Now step to the cow. The cow's going. I'll press him with my right spur. Kind of chase him a little bit. Now I want him to start cowing. There he goes. He's starting to cow a little bit. I'll bring him right back through the herd. Oop. And biting the cow like that at this stage, that's okay. I'm not going to let him do it very long, but the first few times that you work the cow, if he wants to reach out there and bite him, that's okay. It just shows that he recognizes that we're doing something with the cow. Oh. Now, whenever you're going with the cow and it turns away from you like that, you want to stop your horse. You want to stay even with the cow, and you preferably stop instead of just turning up and going after him. You want the horse to think that when a cow goes away from him, we're going to stop. Now with that cow standing still like that, I'm going to kind of dry work my horse a little bit. Just kind of get him loosened up. And the cow's leaving, so I'm going to go right back over and catch the cow. And again, the cow broke away from me, so I stopped my horse. Okay, now I'm going to maneuver my colt a little bit. I'm going to get him a little better broke. I'm going to step him out past the cow, and I'm going to take him across the cow. Now he's kind of fighting me in his head there. He's kind of resisting me. At this stage of the game, that's okay. I'm not going to be too concerned about that. I'm just going to pull him around, kind of get him used to being handled in front of the cow. And pull him to the right. Back him up. And pull him to the left. And all this is doing is getting him used to being handled in front of the cow, so that later on, when it's time to really position his body, he'll let me do it. And I'm going to step him up into the cow. The cow leaves, I use my left leg to motivate him. Let him follow along here. And I stop him short. Here again, you notice my horse's head. Well, this time he's right about at the cow's hip. I want to stop short on the cow so the horse can see that the cow is stopping. I want the colt to always be able to see what's happening. Now, help him in that turn. And I'll step him right up to the cow. Give him plenty of slack so he can put his head down if he wants to. And I use my left leg on him, motivate him to go with the cow. And again, I stop short. Now this colt is really kind of starting to take hold of the cow. It's really starting to show some expression, and that's what I want. Ho. Ho. Okay, and it's okay to lose the cow. At this stage, the cow enters the herd and you lose it, no big deal. On these young horses, you don't want to try to make the horse try to hold the cow. You don't want to put any pressure on him. If you put pressure on him, here again, remember this is the horse's introduction to cattle. We want to make it fun for him. And if we try to make him hold a cow, we're going to put too much pressure on him. He's going to start worrying about it. And if we get him worrying or dreading working the cow, pretty soon he's not going to want to do it. And the one thing that you have to keep in mind, a cutting horse works because he wants to work. We really can't make a cutting horse work a cow. If we could, they'd all make. But most of them, there's a lot of them that won't make because they just don't have that desire and everything. And it's our job to basically build that desire into that horse to want to work the cow. And this is the first step of it. Now, this colt, for where he's at, is doing pretty good. You know, he's kind of wanting to go with the cow, and he's showing some expression. And he's acknowledging that we're doing something with the cow. If I had a colt that didn't acknowledge that we were doing something, if he showed no expression or didn't give any indication that he wanted to go with the cow, you know, I'd start to wonder if that colt had what it takes to make a cutting horse. When I start a horse on cattle, I want him to show some cow fairly quick. I don't want them to wait, you know, 4 or 5 weeks before they start cowing. You know, I've started a lot of horses on cattle, some good horses like Doc and Missy, Queens Are Better, Millie Montana, Cal's Condor, all champions. And the one thing they all had in common was they had a lot of cow. Now they expressed it differently. Some of them were aggressive on a cow, and some of them were timid on a cow. Like this colt, he's kind of aggressive on the cow. He's putting his ears back and he's kind of wanting to bite the cow, and that's fine. Another horse might be kind of afraid of cattle. Doc and Missy was just scared to death of cattle. I could never work her with a herd in the arena like this. I'd have to put one cow in the arena, and she'd be way at that end, and the cow would be way at that end, and we'd work that cow about 100 feet away. And boy, she would just be watching it. But if we got any closer, it'd scare her so bad she'd want to leave. So those, you know, that's the main thing. We want to get across to the cow that we're doing, get across to the horse that what we're doing is we're working the cow, and I want them to show some expression. I want them to cow. If they're not doing that, it'd make me think, well, maybe I don't have a cutting horse. Earlier, I demonstrated, you know, following the cow with this colt just to build up some desire to cow. Now he's been on cattle, like I say, 10 times, and he's wanting to go with the cow, and he's showing some expression. So now it's time to take him one step farther. You know, we started out following the cow because that's fun for a horse, just kind of chasing a cow around. That's what's fun for the colt, and we let him know that this is fun and it's something that he can have a good time doing. Well, now we want to take it one step farther, and I want to move him out to the side of the cow, and we're no longer going to be, you know, chasing the cow. We're going to be out to the side, and we're going to be working the cow more cutting horse style. And I'll kind of demonstrate how we do that. I'm going to cut out another cow. And again, I want to be real quiet here. I didn't have a very good shot at that cow, so I didn't try to jump in front of her and stop her. We can just go right through the herd here and cut again. Take plenty of time here. And there she goes. Use my right foot. Now he's kind of wanting to get up on top of the cow because we're used to chasing it. Now I'm going to use more right foot and try to hold him out to the side. Now, can you see what I'm doing with my hands and my legs to hold him out to the side of that cow? I'm pressing him with the cow side leg. This is the leg closest to the horse. And I'm using my hands and I'm trying to take the front end away from the cow. My cow side rein, my right rein, is against his neck. My left rein is out here. And with moving my hands away from the cow and using my leg against him, we're actually kind of holding him out to the side of the cow. It's almost like we're almost kind of like side passing away from the cow. And this is what I'm going to do to get the horse conditioned to working alongside the cow more instead of chasing the cow. So I'm going to step to the cow to make him move. And now, out to the side of him, use my left leg and take my hands, take him out to away from the cow. Cow stopping, I'm going to stop him, lead him through the turn. Use my cow side leg and my reins. Now I went a little bit farther past that cow than what I'd like, but I'm more interested right now in getting him where he'll let me put him where I want him. Notice that when I stop him with his head to the cow a little bit. I don't want to stop him straight or pulling his head off the cow. When I stop him with the cow, I want to have this right rein, the cow side rein, a little shorter so that I stop him with his nose to the cow so we can see what's going on. Okay, I press him off that cow, and I'm going to stop him with his nose toward the cow. Now he's all set. With his nose toward the cow like this, he's all set to make this turn. And all I've got to do is encourage him a little bit, motivate him with my right foot, cow stops, we stop. And we'll sit here a little bit. And here again, his nose is to the cow. He's in good position to turn and go the other way. And remember what I said, I always want the cow to be in the horse's vision, the cow to pass in front of the horse so it kind of drags him through the turn. We've stopped short, the horse's head is about at the cow's rib cage, so that when it turns right in front of him, he's looking at it, it's going to pull him right through that turn. Motivate him with my left foot, be ready to stop him. And again, now this time I stopped him at the cow's hip. And again, we got his head to the cow, and everything is set up for the cow to turn. The cow's continuing to go. Let the cow pull him through the turn, motivate him with my right foot. Good. Now, when I stop these colts, I don't just pull on them to stop. If I can, I want them to keep their head down. I really don't want them to tip their nose up. So the way I handle the reins is in a pull-release fashion. When I'm going with the cow and it's time to stop, I'm actually going pull-release, pull-release, pull-release. Catch the cow, pull-release. And that pull and release real quick, see how his head kind of stayed down there? It didn't go way up. If I would have just pulled him steady and held him there, his head would have went up. So I want to do everything I can to keep his head low. Okay, now I'm going to step to the cow. And again, I'm going to come nose first. We're not going to side pass to the cow. And motivate him with my right foot. Make him fade off a little bit. Pull, release, pull, release. Good. And he's not doing this perfect, but he's getting the idea. Now I'm going to step to the cow again to make it move. And I really want the colt to understand that he's the one that's making the cow move. That's really important. If you work with turn back help all the time, your horse never learns what makes the cow move. Okay, I'm stepping him up there. And now I use my left foot in my reins and fade him off. Be ready for the stop. Pull, release, pull, release, pull, release. And I stop him with my left rein shorter than my right rein so that his nose is into the cow a little bit. Now coming across the arena right there with that cow, I had to motivate him with my left foot. But here again, I'm not just holding my spur on him. That my leg and my spur is being used on and off. I'm pressing him and releasing, pressing, releasing, or I might not even use my spur. I might just be using the calf of my leg and just giving him little bumps. But whether I'm using the leg or the spur, it's always an on and off action. Into him, out of him, into him, out of him. It just same with the reins. When it's time to stop, pull, release, pull, release. Now he's looking. I'm going to use a little bit of right leg to motivate him. Now he wants to go up into the cow. I'm going to let him. And when the cow takes off, I'm going to fade him off. Pull, release, pull, release. We went a little bit too far past the cow. I'm going to take him across the cow. Ho. Across the cow. See if I can't fade him off. Ho. Pull, release. I'm going to step him to the cow again. Nose first. And it's important that we go to the cow nose first. I don't want to side pass to the cow. I don't want to back up to the cow. I don't want to sneak to the cow. I want him to look at the cow, and then I use my left leg and I drive him to it, directly at it. And now, left leg and fade him off. Pull, release, pull, release. And I stopped him with my cow side rein shorter than my outside rein, so he's looking at it. And again, I'm going to step him to the cow. Stepping him to the cow kind of locks him on a little stronger. Now, right leg, fade him off. Oh. And stop him, cow side rein shorter. Stepping him to the cow after we've stopped just focuses him back on the cow. Sometimes on a young horse like this when we're starting, if we just do everything real mechanical, you know, the cow's moving and we just fade off, fade off, fade off, they'll get kind of numb. They'll kind of quit cowing. So it's important to step up into the cow once in a while, get his mind back on the cow. Step him up into it, and I'll lead him directly up into the cow. Ask him to fade off. We went a little bit too far. Lead him through. Use my left foot, fade him off with my hands, and we stop him. Now notice his body's straight, it's parallel with the cow. He's not going sideways. I don't want to stop him sideways. I want him to stop straight, but I want that nose in there a little bit. Now I'm going to step him to the cow again. Now notice he's a little hesitant going to that cow. This is why I want the horse to realize that he's the one moving the cow. If he knows that he's the cause of the cow moving, when it leaves and I ask him to go with it and fade off, if they have any kind of a brain at all, if they're halfway intelligent, they're going to figure out that going up to the cow makes the cow move. When it moves, he's supposed to jump away and fade off and go get it. Well, pretty soon they start thinking, okay, I'm just going to hang back here so I can maintain leverage on the cow. And this is how you teach a horse to stay back instead of leaking. You've seen cutting horses leak up the pen? If you'll teach your horse that he's the reason the cow moves, and that when the cow moves, he's supposed to jump away and go catch the cow, they're not going to want to go up there. They're going to want to naturally want to stay back and maintain position. Now I'm going to step him up there. Now he's going up there freely this time, so I'm going to let him walk right on up. And now right leg and fade him off and go with it. Pull, release, pull, release. Step him up to it. And fade off. Pull, release. Step up to it and fade him off. Now right there, he was just going to stand there. He wasn't going to turn with it. So I kind of rolled that spur on him pretty strong. Let's motivate him. Let's get through that turn and go catch the cow. I don't want him turning before the cow turns. I want him to see that the cow declares itself and starts to turn first. But once the cow starts to turn, I want him to go with it. So I'll step up to the cow and press him with the left foot. Back him up. Now I want him to stop when that cow stops. And you notice he's kind of leaking out there past the cow. I want him to know that I don't want him to go past the cow. So I'm going to bring him across the cow and ho. Across the cow and ho. Good. Ask him to stop. Now see, he's not wanting to stop. He's wanting to leak on past the cow. So I'm going to take him across the cow again. Across the cow again. There. By taking him back across the cow, when he wants to get out there too far ahead of it, I'm just telling him, no, I don't want you way out there. Get back here. Now step him to it again. Good. Now that he kind of went with it on his own there. Kind of going out past it too far, I'm going to take him across the cow and across the cow. Ask him to stop this time. If he wants to keep going on past it, you know, if he kept going, I'd stop him. And again, I'd bring him across the cow and across the cow. Good. Now notice how I just had to touch him to stop him there. He's thinking about it. If they want to get where they won't listen to you, go ahead and get a little stronger with them. Okay, let's cut another cow. Now he's rushing back to the herd. I don't want that. I'm going to back him up. From day one, when a horse sees the herd, you want him to be quiet. And if he's rushing toward the herd, I want to stop him, make him stand. Okay, now I'll take him toward the herd. Now he's walking to it nice and quiet. See if I can make a nice clean cut. And we'll step up to this cow here that's kind of looking at me. I'm going to keep my horse pointed at the cow. Even on a real green horse that you're just starting on cattle, when you're separating the cow, you want to give him a clear idea what cow you want. And you do that by keeping him pointed at the cow. Now step up to the cow, use my left foot, and I'll step up to it. Now I'm just going to go on with the cow. I'm going to try to fade him off a little bit. Oop. When you cut a cow like that and it makes a move and it takes off running, we want to go with the cow, but we also want to fade off to take the pressure off the cow so it'll slow down and stop. If I would have stayed right on top of the cow, it would have just kept on running 9-0 around this arena. And I don't necessarily want to run 9-0 across the arena. I want the horse to figure out, you know, how to make a cow move and how to make a cow stop. By fading him off and that allowing the cow to stop, that colt's learning that fading off will take the pressure off the cow, get the cow to slow down or stop. Now after we stop, I'm going to sit here for a while. And it's important after a cow runs fast like that, when it does stop, you want to sit here. Sitting here lets the cow, lets the horse think that it's a reward for getting the cow to stop, okay? So he's going to be looking for that stop. And that's what I want. I want the colt to be looking for the stop. I want him to go with the cow when it goes, and when the cow stops, I want him to really stop. And by sitting here for a few minutes, it just encourages him to start looking for that stop. Okay, I'm going to step him up to this cow. Now I'm going to put a little more pressure on this cow. I'm going to take him all the way to the fence. I'm just going to keep driving my colt to the cow to get the cow against the fence. Put a little leg on my horse, left leg on the horse. I try to fade him off a little bit. Use my cow side leg and my reins. As we were going along there, you see I was bumping my calf on his side and I was taking my reins, pulling him off that cow. Now step him up to the cow. Okay, notice my colt's getting a little more cautious about going up there. He even backed up a step right there. He's starting to figure out that going to the cow means he's going to have to work, and he's not going to be so anxious to go to that cow. Now we can get a little bit ahead of this cow and make it go the other way. Step him to the cow, fade him off, and stop him. Take him to the cow, fade him off, and stop him. Good. Now take him across the cow, take him across the cow. Now I'm giving him a lot of rein here because he's kind of wanting to hook up here. He's getting a little too far ahead. Slow him up. Fade him off a little bit, bring him to a stop. Now he's kind of wanting to lead the cow too much going to the left, so I'm going to ride him out here. I'm going to stop him, bump him back, take him across the cow, take him across the cow, and then stop him short. Let him know that I want him to stop at about that cow's shoulder. Now step him up to the cow. Now this colt's kind of wanting to put his head down, which I really like. Ask him to stop. If they want to put their head down, I'm going to let them put their head down. I'm going to give him some slack here. Now because he's kind of wanting to lead the cow too far to the left here, I'm going to take him to the cow's hip. Now I'll go with him. Use the cow side leg, kind of bump it on him a little bit, be ready for the stop. Stop him with his nose to the cow. And that was pretty good. This time he wanted to stop a little short, but that was good. Okay, kiddo. Oh. And we'll give this colt a break. He did pretty good. We're going to go on and work another young horse. This is a filly that she's been ridden for months, so she's fairly well broke, but she's only been on cows for maybe a month or two, part-time, but she gives her head real good, and she'll turn around, as you can see. We'll turn around the other way. So she can handle herself fairly decent. I've got her broke good enough for when I want her to drop her head, I can ask her to drop her head and she'll do it. Because when she came here, she had the tendency to have her head way up high. So with her, I've really concentrated on trying to get her to have her head low. And sometimes you have to do that artificially by just asking them to put it down. Now back her up a little bit. Good. Good, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now before I work them on cattle, I'll warm them up pretty good. I won't get them tired, but I'll sure trot them around a few laps, get that blood flowing, just kind of get the edge off them a little bit, but I still want them to be pretty fresh. I want them to really feel like working, so that they put some effort into working the cow. So I'm going to go ahead and get a cow out here. And like I say, this filly has just been worked on cattle kind of off and on. Now right there, I asked her to go forward and she put her head down, and I'm going to let her. I'd much rather have the head down low than have it too high. And again, we're going to be as quiet as we can in the herd here. Take plenty of time. I'm going to wait till a cow gives me the opportunity to have a nice clean cut. And looks like this one's going to give me a nice shot here. And I'm going to step her up to this cow, go with it. Now you see the expression on this filly's face? She's got a lot of cow. I'm going to stop her here. And again, I stop her with the pull release. And with her, because she kind of wants to get her head up high, as I'm stopping her, I'm also encouraging to put her head down. I might even, when we're stopping, I might even kind of bump it down. Now I'm going to encourage her to go with it with my right foot. Ooh, that was a little overreaction there. And if she wants to put that head down, all the better. I mean, it's a little exaggerated right now, but we're just starting, so that's okay. Step her up into the cow. The cow's starting to go, we'll go with it, and it stops. I'll stop her. And again, I'll stop her with her nose to the cow so that she's set up to make the turn. I want her to be able to see. Go with the cow. Be ready for the stop. And again, I used my reins, pull release, and I put this rein against her neck so that she stops and bends her head into the cow. Step her up into the cow. She's cowing pretty good. Now she's kind of wanting to stay up into the cow, so when it goes, I'm going to ask her to fade off. Pull release, little bump right there, ask her to put the head down. There we go. Now I like the way she did that right there. So I'm going to stand here. We're still even with the cow, but I'm going to let her sit here and relax for a second. Okay, Point her at the cow, step right up into it. Now she's going up there faster than what I like, so I'm going to back her up. Break her off the cow this way, back her up, bring her across the cow this way. Now the head's going up, I'm going to ask her to put it down. There we go. Back her up, bring her through. There we go, good girl, good girl. Now step her up into the cow again. And again, she's kind of charging up there a little faster than what I like. I'm going to back her up. Good. Now once we kind of get her going here, get the edge off. Good. Now she's got a little more cautious going up there. I'm going to kind of break her off this cow fairly strong. When it goes, I'm going to really press her off the cow. I'm just going to walk her directly to the cow. Good, she's kind of cautious there, I like that. Ooh, that was a little too fast. I'm going to back her up. So basically, when we go to the cow, I want to ask him with my legs. But when I quit asking with my legs and just sit here, I really want them to stop. And if they don't, I'm able to just back them up. I ask her forward, I quit riding, and she stopped. That was pretty good. Now when she gets farther along, driving her to the cow and breaking her off with the cow, that'll put a lot of caution in her. It'll make her so she doesn't want to go up to the cow. I'll break her off pretty strong here. Bring her nose in. Good. She wants to put her head down, I'm going to let her. Step her to the cow. Now see right there, she actually jumped away from the cow a little bit on her own. Ask for the stop. Now I'm going to step her right up into the cow here. Use my right foot. Take her back to the cow. Take her back to the cow. Ask her to slow up. Then I'm going to let that cow go, get a different one. Good, I asked her to the cow, she took a couple steps and she stopped. Ask her up there again. Now the cow's going, she's not going. I'm gonna press her pretty strong with that foot. Lead her with the direct rein and then really press her with that foot to say, hey, that cow's going, get over there. Remember, your hands give direction, your hands show them where they're supposed to go, and your feet's what motivates them. So by spurring her there, now the cow's leaving again, I'm going to spur her. There. Now I just turned that toe out and I just rolled that spur up her rib cage to let her know that cow's going, you get going with it. Now I'm going to step up to the cow and I'm going to be ready to lead her with it. So I didn't have to spur, she was ready to go. Yeah, step her up to it. We'll see if she's learned anything. She's not going with it. I'm going to press her again and stop her. Part of the reason why she's not going with it is because she's too busy sniffing the ground. But I hate to discourage that right now because once she gets farther along and we pick things up, work tougher cattle, she's not going to have time to have it on the ground like that, and she'll pay more attention. There we go, good. Oop, let's stop here. Back her. Take her across the cow. Oop, the head's getting up. I'm going to shake it down. There we go. Step her up into the cow. Step her up in this guy. Good. Okay, now, boy, from sending her with that spur a few times, now she's really wanting to go with the cow. Step her right up into the cow. Help her a little bit there. Okay, I'm going to fade her off. Cow's going too fast, so I'm going to fade off to give a little ground. Fade off some more. There we go. By fading off away from that cow, I take the pressure off the cow so he feels like he can stop. If I stayed right up on top of him, he'd just keep running real fast. And here again, when you're just starting your horse on cattle, you don't want to do anything that's going to scare him. And he'll step her up to the cow. Good. Now see, from that fast run, now she's a little hesitant to go up there. No one's thinking that, she knows that she's the one that makes the cow move. So when I'm asking her up there, right there she's thinking, ooh, do I want to go up there? Because he's going to take off running and then I'm going to have to break off. Now see, I'm asking her up, here we go. I'll ask her up here some more. Good. Ask her up some more. Take her across the cow, and across the cow, across the cow, up to it. Oop. Now right there things got a little too fast, so I had to help her. Lead her through this turn, bring her across the cow, fade off, ask her for the stop when the cow stops. I'm going to stop kind of short. Good. Step up to the cow. Okay, now she's getting a little chargy there. Take her across the cow. I'm going to back her up. Take her across the cow again. Because see, she's kind of losing her balance going through these turns. I'm going to get her on her butt a little bit more and moving that front end. Especially on this side, she's keeping her hip into the cow and it's making it so that she has a hard time turning. Back her up, bring her across. Okay, that was better. Now here, right here, see she's moving her hip into that cow, making it so it's difficult for her to turn to the left. So I'm going to get that hip out of the way. There we go. Now I'm going to back her up and bring her across. Good, okay. If a horse's hip is too close to the cow, too deep into the cow, they have a hard time turning around that hip. So you got to make sure that even though you want to stop parallel with the cow, you want to make sure that their hip isn't way into the cow. Right here, she's just about right. She's pretty parallel. Her hip's away from the cow a little bit. Nose is pointed to the cow. And she can make this turn easily. Now right here, her hip's a little into the cow too much. I'm going to move it out of the way. And that's going to allow her to make the turn easily. Step up into it and go with it. Good. Oh, good. That time she stopped on her own. That was pretty good. Let her sit here. And that's good enough for today. She stopped on her own right there. And that's about all I could ask for the number of times that she's actually been on a cow. This filly is a 3-year-old. She's farther along than the other horses that we've worked so far today. She's got a lot of cow. She's a little bit behind for a 3-year-old, so we have to camp on her to get her caught up. But I really like this filly. She's got a lot of cow and a lot of move. I'm just going to walk a few circles on her and get her given her head before we go to the cattle. And this is she's kind of a timid filly. And so with the young horse that's a little on the timid side, you've got to be real careful that you build their confidence. I don't want to do anything that's going to scare her or upset her. She wants to be good, but like I say, she's a little timid, and if I brought things on too fast or was a little too abrupt with her, it'd be easy to scare her. So, you know, here again, when we're when you're just introducing horses to cattle, you want things to go as good as possible so that they have a good feeling about it. It's no different than you or I going to school for the first time. If the first day at school is bad, we have some bad experiences, some bully beats us up or something, we're not going to want to go to school. But if we have a good time that very first day, we love school, can't wait to go. And these horses are no different. So when they're young like this and we're going to start them, we want things to go as good as possible. All right, well, I'm going to enter the herd, try to get one cut. She's kind of rushing it. I'm going to slow her down a little bit. You see her ears? Well, her ears are right up looking at the cattle. I love that. And she's a little hesitant to go into the herd. I like that too. But mostly I like the way she works her ears. She's really looking to see what's going on. Good. Now here again, when we make the cut, I want my horse pointed at the cow, facing the cow, so there's no doubt what cow I want her to hook up to. Step to it. Step to it a little bit more. Use my left foot to motivate her. Now she's really, see how she's kind of wanting to put that head down? I'm gonna handle my reins softly, because she's pretty light. I'm gonna handle my reins very softly, and I'm gonna make sure that my hands are low so she really feels comfortable putting that head down. I want to encourage that head to stay low. Now I'm just going to go ahead and just ride her right on up here. I'm continuing to ask her to go up into the cow. Hold her up into it. Now the cow's going, I'm going to break her off a little bit. Make sure we stop with her nose to the cow. And I don't want to go past the cow, I want to stay even with it. Now I'm going to step in front of this cow and turn him, make him go the other way. Use my right foot, take her to the cow. Good. Good. And she's really kind of wanting to, she's kind of starting to stop with the cow pretty good. This cow doesn't have a lot of feel to him, he's kind of numb. Oh, I think I'll get a different cow. Stop, turn back away from the cow, go back to the herd. Now here again, she's a little hesitant to go into the herd, so I'm going to ask her real nice, because I do want her to be cautious around the herd and around cattle. I don't want her charging into the herd. And I'm just going to kind of urge her on with my legs. I'm not really spurring her, I'm just kind of bouncing my calves against her sides, let her know I want her to keep walking. And here's the cow right in front of us. I point her at it, let her know that's the cow that I want. Now drive to it. See how her ears are pointing at the cow? I like that. Looking at the cow. And I'm just going to kind of ease her up to this cow until we're close enough to make the cow do something. The cow's just wandering around right now because there's no pressure on him. But when he reaches that fence and I keep coming, he's going to feel pressure and want to go do something. So we'll pressure him here, I'm going to keep coming right up to him, force him to pick up a little speed. Now I'm going to urge my filly to go, bring her to a stop, nose to the cow. Step to the cow. Be ready to lead her through the turn. There. Nose to the cow. Now she pretty much made that turn by herself and jumped away from the cow, which I like, but as she was doing it, she took her head off the cow, so I had to make sure I bring her head right back to the cow, so she's focused on him again, ready to make that next turn. Now I'll step her up into the cow. I'm using my left foot here to urge her up into the cow. And again, have her look at it, use my left foot, bump her with it to urge her up into the cow, and then we go with it. Stop her with her nose to the cow. Again, notice her body's parallel with the cow, and just her head, her neck is bent so she can look at it. I don't want them going I don't want them going sideways. I don't want them stopping sideways. Now I'm going to step in front of this cow and make it turn. Ask a little bit more. Good. Bring her nose to the cow. Now I'm going to step her up to it to put a little pressure on the cow. And she kind of wanted to stop on her own there. And she brought her head into the cow by herself. That's good. And now I'm going to cut a different cow. Okay, get a little faster cow out here. Now this filly, she's pretty sensitive. She has a lot of move to her. So if there's any doubt, if I feel her have any doubt where she should be, I show her exactly where to be. On these horses that are just starting on cattle, you can never go wrong showing them where to be. That's what builds their confidence up. You can start letting them make some mistakes later on when they get farther along, but right now at the start, you want them to feel confident that you're going to show them where to be and help them a little bit. Make sure her nose is pointed at the cow. Now she's expecting something to happen here. She sees the Now that cow took off running. I went ahead and faded her off that cow and then brought her to a stop, nice and easy. When they're green like this, you don't want to be jerking them into the ground. You want to stop them nice and easy. Now step up to the cow again. Take her to the cow's hip, right leg. Take her to the cow's hip, and now right leg to step her across it. Good. And again, I'm going to step her up into the cow. Make sure that she stays focused on it. Bring her to a stop. Let her turn. Bring that nose to the cow. Step up to the cow again. Help her through the turn. Stop her with her nose to the cow. And step her right back up. Take her across the cow. Into the cow's head a little bit. Ease her into the stop. And again, when I stop her, my hands are going pull, release, pull, release, pull, release. That's what gets them stopped without their head going way up in the air. Let's step her up to this cow. Bump her nose to the cow so she's looking at it. I encourage her with my left leg. Bring her across the cow again. Good. By taking her across the cow, I'm going to go past the cow's head. I'm going to bring her back to the cow's hip, take her across that cow. What that does is that puts a little intensity into the horse. Take her to the hip, and now ask her to go with the cow. Take her to the hip, and ask her to go to the, ease her into the stop, pull release, pull release. Now I'm going to step in front of this cow and make him go the other way. I'm going to ease her in front of him, and left leg, bring her nose to the cow, go to the cow's hip, and left leg. Take her to the cow's hip, and left leg. And take her to the cow's hip, and left leg. That's pretty good. Good girl. She's looking off the cow. I'm going to bump her nose in there. Now over there, she made a really strong turn with the cow, and she actually went too far. She had a miss there, but at the beginning stages like this, I'm not going to get after her for it. At this stage of the game, everything is praise. There's no punishment whatsoever. Now when they get farther along and they're not paying attention, you can get after them a little bit, but at this stage of the game, you just want to encourage them. I'm just going to go with the cow, help her stop, bring her nose to the cow. Good girl, good girl. Okay, I think that's good enough for this filly. I was really happy with the way she was reading the cow there and her intensity on the cow. I think she's going to make a really good horse as long as we keep things going the way we're going and keep things positive. I think this filly is going to make a nice horse. That's good enough for her today. Okay, I'm going to work this horse on another cow, and we're going to step him up a little bit. Kind of ease him over here and point him at this cow and kind of drive it out to the fence. Use my left foot. Ask for the stop. Now, when we turn with this cow, the one thing I want you to pay attention to is that we don't turn before the cow turns. You know, when we're doing the demonstration on the finished horse, I was talking about what draws a cow to a horse. We draw the cow to the horse by basically letting the cow declare itself in the turn, and the horse waits and then turns quicker. But we don't turn before the cow does. If we turn before the cow does, it ruins the form and the style of the horse, and it also makes the cow want to go away from us instead of come to us. So I actually want the colt turning a little bit late. I don't want him turning before the cow does. I'll step him up here, use my left foot, stop him. Step into the cow. Good, he kind of backed up on his own right there. He knows by getting up right up on the top of the cow, he's going to lose his leverage. So he's starting to learn that going right up on top of the cow isn't a good thing. Good. Ooh. Now I'm going to let that cow go. Back him up, turn him, go get another cow. Now when I quit the cow, you notice I turn back into the cow. I don't just turn away from the cow and go back to the herd. my cow's right there, I always quit by turning into the cow. And that keeps the horse, you know, hooked up, doesn't let him think that he can just drop off the cow and quit. Use my left foot, right foot. And notice when I stop him with his nose toward the cow. We step up into it. I'm going to drive this cow off to the fence. Left foot. Drive on up to the cow. Use my right foot a little bit to urge him on up there. Take him across the cow. Good, all right. Oh. Now he's wanting to get too far ahead of the cow, so I'm bumping him. And if he gets too strong about getting ahead of the cow, I'll stop him. I'll stop him and let the cow go. I'm going to go ahead and stop him. I'm going to back him up. He's getting a little too strong. Take him across this cow. Ask him for the stop. Back him up. Step him back up into the cow. Good. Now he's wanting to stay a little bit more even with the cow, not want to charge ahead of it too much. There. When he sees the cow slowing down, getting ready to stop, I want him to think about slowing down, getting ready to stop. Step him up into the cow, right foot, make him catch it, ask him for the stop. Oh, good. Now he was easy to stop that time because when I pulled him into the ground over there and backed him up, that let him know he better listen to me a little bit. He was kind of getting to where he wasn't listening to what I was trying to show him. Then cut a different cow. Now he's getting a little too strong here in the herd. I'm going to back him up, thump on him a little bit with my legs because he's not wanting to back very good. Okay, now I'll step him back up in there. On these young horses, when you want to back them up, some of them will just lock up. You go ahead and thump them with your legs. That'll kind of get them, there we go. That'll get them backing up better. I'm going to back him again, make sure I got that. I'm going to take hold of him. There, he backed up nice and light. Good. Ask him up in here. See if we can get that big mott cut. And he knows I'm after him. Yeah, I better slow down. Take our time. We'll wait until we got a clean shot at him. If you get in the habit of rushing your cuts, trying to force the cut, running after cattle that take off, you're going to teach your horse to focus on cutting and running cattle instead of cutting cattle that are nice and quiet, the kind that you want to cut at the show. So even from the get-go here, we want them to focus on what they have a clean shot at. You know, if we jump after cattle that take off all the time, that's all they're going to want to do. Cow takes off running, boy, they just take off after it. And we might be wanting to cut the cow that's standing right in front of him. But because, you know, you've chased cattle that jump and run so much, you know, he's not wanting to look at the cow that wants to stand still. He wants to look at the cow that wants to run. I'm going to step up into this cow, use my right foot, ask for the stop, pull release, kind of bump him a little bit across the cow. and across the cow. Now when I take him across the cow, I'm going to use my left foot right here and then stop him and help him through the turn. Left foot, across the cow, left foot, help him through the turn. Hoop. Good, okay. He's kind of starting to listen a little bit. Left foot, help him right there. Left foot to encourage him to catch up with the cow. Now he had a miss over there, but at least he's watching. At least he's, I mean, for just being on a cow for a few times, he's doing okay. And if he wants to make some mistakes, that's all right. When he does, I'm just going to help him and show him what I want him to do. Now he's backing off this cow, which I want him to do. Now I don't want him to take it to extremes, but he's thinking, what's going through his mind right now is that when he goes up to the cow, he knows that's what makes the cow move. And he knows I'm gonna shove him with my leg and my spur and jump him away to go catch the cow. And so he's learning to stay back and keep his leverage, which I want him to do. Use left foot, encourage him to go with the cow. Right foot, left foot, good. Step him up into the cow, left foot, stop him with his nose to the cow a little bit. Now he's getting out there too far. I'm going to take him across the cow, stop him, bring him back, stop him, take him across the cow again. Take him across the cow, good. And he's kind of using himself a little bit better there. Back him up and across the cow. Give him a little thump there. Back him up and thump him across the cow. Step him back up into the cow. After we do that, we want him to start cowing again, so I'll step him right back up into the cow and get pretty close to it. Help him into the stop, lead him through the turn. Step him up into the cow, take him across the cow, and we're just going to go along with the cow, be ready for the stop, ease him down slower, pull release, pull release. Want his head position to stay halfway decent. Help him into the stop, good. Now as soon as I stop him, I'm quick to give him the slack. I want him to understand that if he stops with the cow, he's going to get slack in the reins. Good, nice little turn on his own. Take him across the cow a little bit. Fade off. Help him into the stop. If he went too far, I'm going to take him across the cow. Stop him. Stop him even with the cow. Good. Okay, now he's kind of getting the hang of staying with the cow pretty good. Step him up, left foot, encourage him to go with it. Ease him into the ground. Now the reason he's starting to hook up better and stronger is because he knows if he doesn't, I'm gonna press him with that spur. That's his motivation for staying with the cow. He knows I'm going to press him with the spur. So here again, you want to ride your horse with your legs and not just your hands. If you just ride him with your hands, he's not going to hook up like that. He's not going to have the motivation to stay with the cow like that. Step him up there, left foot, help him through the turn, left foot. And all I'm doing, I'm helping him a little bit with my hands. Help him right there, help through the turn. Right foot. Right foot again, we need to fade off a little bit. He's going to turn away, help him into the ground. Bump him a little bit. There. Take him across the cow. And across the cow. And ho. Good. Step up into the cow again. Right foot, just shoving him to catch the cow. Back to the cow's hip, the cow's hip, right foot. After I took him to the cow's hip, he didn't go, so I had to shove him with that foot. Step him up to the cow's hip, and then right foot to motivate him to go catch the cow. Help him into the stop. Left foot. Right through the turn, halfway through the turn, use that left foot, shove him to go catch the cow. Step to the cow's hip. Now he's not wanting to go up there. He knows going up there means he's going to have to jump and get it. So he wants to stay back and maintain his distance. And that's what I want him to do. Now I'm going to ask him up there again. Left foot, motivate him to go with the cow. See, whenever that cow starts to go and he doesn't go, I'm going to shove him with my foot. Give him motivation to go with the cow. Left foot, there we go. Good. Good. Okay, that's good enough. That's good enough for him today. Okay, we're gonna work this filly on cattle, and you know, there's two ways of starting a horse on cattle. In this case, a colt on cattle. And one way is to get them pretty broke, where they're giving their head and stopping and turning, and then introducing them to cattle when you've got some control over them. But there have been a lot of good horses that have been started on cattle the very first time they've been ridden. When I was younger and working for Gene Suter, it was pretty funny. I didn't know a whole heck of a lot, but Gene was real good and gave me an opportunity to learn something. And we'd get a 2-year-old in from Texas or California in the morning, and that afternoon Gene would say, "I'd like you to work a cow on that colt." And that colt may have never been saddled before, nobody's ever been on it before, so come that afternoon, I'd saddle the colt up, turn it loose, let it buck around, put a cow in the arena, step up on the colt, pull it toward the cow, and start working on the cow. And from that day on, that colt, every time it was ridden, was worked on a cow, and we turned out a bunch of good colts that way. Now, I'm not telling you to do this yourself, because it can get a little risky. But I just thought, you know, I'd demonstrate, you know, how we jockey a colt to a cow when it doesn't have any handle on it. This filly's only been ridden one time, and she doesn't have a stop on her. She doesn't know how to turn. She doesn't even know how to go. But this technique that I'm going to use on her is basically just a technique on how to break a colt on a cow. And there's been times when I've had futurity colts come to me and they've come late, and boy, I had to get them going, and I'd go ahead and break them on a cow. I'd work a cow on them very first ride, and you know, after a month or two they looked like, you know, they'd been ridden for, you know, twice that long, because we just stepped right to the program and went with it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get on this filly. She's never even seen a cow before. This is the first time she's ever even seen a cow. She's looking at it right now, so she looks interested. Yeah, put that head down. I like that. And I've just got one cow in the arena by itself. You don't want to have a herd in the arena when you're trying to do this. Now I'm going to go ahead and step up on her, and like I say, she's only been ridden one time, and that was yesterday. So I don't know how she's going to act really, and I'm going to step up on her. I'm going to cheek her. Now, because she doesn't know anything, the first thing I want to do is get her focused on the cow. And I'm going to do that just by pulling her to the cow and encourage her to go to it. If she tries to buck, I'm going to pull her head around, take her mind off bucking. But I want her to look at the cow, try to figure out. Now, a lot of times they will buck out of enthusiasm. If she's got some cow, she's going to want to go after it. Now, she's kind of heading in the right direction. I'm just going to let her go. Keep her focused on the cow. I'm encouraging her to go with my legs. Now she's kind of looking at the camera. That's kind of scary to her. And I was hoping the cow wouldn't go over there. Okay. Actually, this filly's being pretty good. Now she's taking off. I'm going to pull her right toward the cow and ask her to go forward again. Because she doesn't have any stop on her, when she ran past the cow there, I just pulled her around. Now we'll get the cow away from the camera where she'll focus on. Here we go. Now I'm just gonna drop in behind this cow, let her follow it. Remember, horses like to chase cattle, so I'm gonna drop right in behind this cow and let her follow it. She feels safe back here. If we were alongside of it or ahead of it, you know, they don't feel quite as safe. But by being behind it, they feel secure that the cow's not going to get them. They don't know what the cow is. For all they know, that cow could be tougher than them and try to get them. But by just following it here, she feels relatively secure. Now I'm just going to ease her up there a little bit and see if she'll start to cow without bucking me off. Now she's moving away from the cow because she sees the camera up there. She doesn't want to go to it. Okay, we're going to drop in behind this cow. I'm just going to pull her nose to it a little bit, see if she'll start cowing. Just followed it around, and she kind of acknowledged it a little bit there. Now she wanted to stop, that's okay. I'm going to encourage her to go forward, pop her on the butt. Yeah, good, good. And all I'm going to do is just go everywhere the cow goes and try to keep it in her vision, her line of sight, so she'll start recognizing that she's supposed to do something with it. Encourage her to pick up speed and pull her nose right with it. Ooh, she kind of cowed a little bit there, her ears went back. What I want her to do is just show some kind of recognition. Her ears go back, her ears go forward, start looking at it, wanting to get it, wanting to jump away from it, or just acknowledge it. There she goes, there she goes. Good, good. If she wants to nip it on the butt, that's fine. Put her attention back on it. There we go. Good. Put her attention back on the cow. Pull that nose right back to the cow. Now we're getting kind of lucky here today because some of them get really carried away the first time you do this. But she's being pretty good. I'll just follow the cow, let her think that chasing the cow is fun, bring her nose to it, take her nose to the cow, now she's kind of cowing, not a lot, but a little bit. I'd like to see her cowing more than this, but sometimes it takes 2 or 3 days for them to really start to cow. Now if it was 2 or 3 weeks and she wasn't paying any more attention than this, I'd think I don't have a cow horse. But if she's cowing a little bit today, so there's a good chance in another 2 or 3 times on cows she'll start cowing more. Good girl. Now she's getting kind of bored now. Even though this is just the second time I've ridden her, doesn't look like a lot bothers her. So tomorrow I'll work her on a cow, and I'll work a livelier cow, and we'll just do the same thing. I'll just get her focused on the cow, and we'll go wherever it goes. And a little livelier cow, I think, will perk her up a little bit more, and she'll start cowing more. But that's good enough for today. Good girl. Well, that wraps it up for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned some techniques that'll help you and your horse. And until I see you again, good luck.